Ms. Cook will lead us in the invocation, and Mr. Bedard will lead us in the pledge.
Dear Father, thank you for creating this opportunity to conduct business. Let our hearts be humble, unselfish, and in good faith. May you bless our thoughts and words that are in us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we want to welcome you to the City Parish Council meeting. We, as your representatives in the Lafayette Consolidated Government, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the council on any item on this agenda, please fill out a blue request to address the council form, noting the agenda item number. The blue form is available to you in the foyer, and you should submit it to the council clerk, Ms. Veronica Williams, seated to my left in the middle, prior to the call of the agenda item. It is important to fill in the blue form completely and note the specific agenda item number about which you wish to speak. If the card is not completely filled out or is not legible to the clerk, you will not be given an opportunity to speak. If you have materials you wish to submit to the council, please give those to Ms. Williams along with your blue form. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational derogatory comments. I am requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only. And lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and all phones and electronic devices shall be silenced from this point forward. I am also requesting that anyone who approaches the council state their name and title for the official record. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. Documents, including agenda, ordinances, resolutions, and minutes related to this meeting are posted online, or you can refer to the web address on the top of the agenda. The council encourages your involvement and participation by volunteering for boards and commissions. If you're interested in finding out which board suits your interests, call 291-8800 or pick up a pamphlet at the door. We move to chair announcements. Item number 8, appeal of the decision by the Office of Alcohol and Noise Control to suspend alcoholic beverage permit has been deferred at the request of the Mayor President. I would like to wish our interim police chief, Chief Reggie Thomas, a happy birthday. He will celebrate his birthday Friday, March 18th. Where's Reggie? Congratulations, Chief. You're getting younger every day. Okay. Council announcements. Mr. Nakan.
Yes, I just wanted to let the council members know and the audience and my constituents that unexpectedly I will be leaving the meeting due to work. I have to take a flight out of Lafayette to Houston, so I do apologize if I get up during the meeting and I'm not present and don't come back. That's where I'm at. So it was due to the water coming up on I-10 and that they shut the road down. I was going to drive after the meeting, but unfortunately, duty call. So I just want to let you know, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I just want everyone to remember this Saturday, March 19th, we have what they call Project Yard Cleanup. That's once a year, now and then they have that where you can bring items that, like debris that you're unable to put in the trash at your house in the front yard. So there's 5 different parks that's having that. The parks are Beaver Park, Plantation Park, Moore Park, Neyland Park, and Bryan Park from 7:30 until 12. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. So if you have something that you cannot, get rid of at your home, you can bring it to these parks from 7:30 until noon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we're going to move into the Executive Mayor President's report. Mr. Robideau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we have Evie Brooks here with Lafayette Central Park. They are required to give a quarterly update to the council, and so they're here tonight to do that.
Good evening. I'm Evie Brooks. Congratulations to all of you on your continued success as council members, but specifically about the people who have just been elected. Looking forward to working with you over the coming years. So as he mentioned, in the cooperative endeavor agreement that we have, Lafayette Central Park, the nonprofit, have with you all, we have quarterly updates, so I'll be coming to you regularly to kind of give you an update on the project as to where we are. One of the things I wanted to, well, first tell you is that since our last update, for those of you who are already on the council, I was named executive director since the last update, so that's one big kind of announcement on my end. But we also wanted to show a quick video that I think kind of captures some of the community's excitement. Has a flyover. I just wanted everybody to have had an opportunity to see that because it kind of captures what we're hoping for the park to become in coming years. And then I'll give you kind of an update as to where we're going to go from here. So I think without further ado.
Imagine a public park steeped in history, set amid majestic oaks and open pasture, in the center of a city rich in culture and diverse in heritage.
Having nearly 100 acres in the middle of a city is a rare thing.
Because the Horse Farm is right in the center of town. You're able to walk there, you can bike there, you can drive there.
100 acres right in the middle of the city. Can you imagine what you can do with that?
You can take a long walk around that thing. It'd take you half a day almost.
It's really a hidden treasure. Nobody realizes how big that is until you get out there and look at it. You go,
from like the outside, you can't tell that it goes as far back as it does.
We didn't realize there was this much open space still in the middle of the city.
The Horse Farm, when you go out there and you walk among the trees and you see just the beauty of an area that's been untouched for years, it takes you to another place.
A place where families come to gather and children play. A place for celebration. A place that honors the past while preserving the land for future generations. A place of community. A place of natural beauty and peaceful days. Taking inspiration from parks and gardens across the country and around the globe. Imagine a world-class Central Park for Lafayette. The people of Lafayette and the surrounding area have given the park at the Horse Farm a true vision. Throughout a year of workshops, public meetings, and online forums, our community has developed a plan that we can all be proud of. The vision is now on its way to becoming a reality. Imagine what this park means to our city, to the Acadiana region, citizens and visitors. Imagine what this park holds for our future, our economy, our quality of life.
once again, I think it's important to say that one of the important missing pieces to quality of life in Lafayette, quality of life in Acadiana, is a Central Park at the Horse Farm. And when we put that piece in place, together with what we're planning in other areas, we are going to create an even better community.
You know, our philosophy is to bring the best and the brightest to the table so that the outcome is something that we're all proud of and that our children and their children are proud of as well.
I would like to play around with my kids whenever I get older and watch them on the playground. We'll probably have a picnic there.
If everyone would just give what they can in a little bit, whether it be financial or just a public support of this project, I think it would be awesome at the end.
It's our park. Let's build it together.
I love that video. I think if we could capture that little boy at the end, he's so cute. So I just wanted to give you an update as to where we were since the last update. I'm sure you read in the paper, we had amazing fundraising success last year. In December, we had two $500,000 donors that came forward and offered a community match where every dollar that was donated in the month of December would be doubled. We made that match and surpassed it. We ended up raising $2.64 million in December alone. So we met our 2015 goals. We are very excited and proud of that and very grateful to our donors. We have, actually, this is Brett Bayard with our engineering firm, Mater Engineering here in Lafayette. I brought him in case we had any kind of technical questions you had. We actually just had the designers in town all day long today to kind of work through some of the details. And the things that we have on the upcoming kind of agenda for you guys is we will be going to plat, I believe, April 7th. And that will go through planning and zoning, but at the end, I think we'll need your approval. And then we also will have to go eventually and rezone the property. Currently, it's zoned residential multifamily. That was from when it was UL's property. And we would like to rezone it public institutional. We think that's a much more fitting zoning classification than multifamily. So anyway, we hope to break ground November or December. And that will be essentially when we break ground on Phase 1A. We'll start working on all of the infrastructural items, parking lots, the new bridge over the coulee for vehicles, and an entry drive. So, and then the rest will kind of come in later phases. So, well, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Mr. Boudreau?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening.
Did I hear you say you were selected as the executive director?
I was.
Congratulations.
Very grateful for that. Thank you.
Good. We have some challenges. You know what they are. When this process first started and when this government put up the first $6 million to purchase the park, I was concerned about its diversification and our reach out and what we're going to do. One of the things that I was really adamant about to the previous administration, who was very actively involved, and I don't even know if the consultants are still in town, was I felt the park needed to be introduced to an entirely left out population of people. In particular minorities of all sorts. How did we do with that? I did not see any events that took place at the park from an introductory. You know, it was during that phase where people could just go out and they wanted to work and do things at no cost, and we might still be in that same window. But where are we as it relates to bringing in groups and organizations and people to get them to experience the park? So going forward, when we have this beautiful rendition that we just saw and all these activities, that is still representative of Southwest Louisiana, but in particular Lafayette, the people who put up the money, that 33 percentile of African Americans and those other percentages of Latinos and Asians and others. Where are we on that? What can you tell me about that?
Well, I think it's a great question. I think it's one that we hope to address for the rest of our 99-year lease as soon as we begin construction. In the meantime, we've been operating in somewhat of a no man's land where the city was operating an events calendar. You could rent the property, but I don't think they were really trying to encourage that. With the new administration, they've told us that we can manage events, and so what we've done is broken out a whole new event schedule where you can rent the property for different types of things. So I would encourage people to think of it as a venue now and contact us. That's one way that people can come and use the park that's much more accessible than I think it was before. And also, I think that once we obviously take control of the property, I think programming and making sure that we're including a diverse array of activities at the property and a diverse array of ways to bring people to it is something that's really important to us. So I don't know if that fully answers your question. I feel like until we fully take control of the property.
But it's a good start.
Yeah.
So is Lafayette Consolidated Government still in control of the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Robideau, let me tell you some of the hiccups we had under the prior administration. It's a very uncomfortable conversation for people to have. But when we don't have them at the right time, we have things like the Mouton statute. That's just the bottom line. What I have said, certainly in these last 4 years of my time here, is that I am not going to sit here and let things happen that we start arguing and fighting about 20 years later and people don't even know how it got started. So under the prior administration, I used to request we need to have a reach out. We need to have a reach out. The park, I've gone there, I've rang the bell, I've done things, but there wasn't a whole lot of people who looked like me. And I said we needed to do some introductory type things because this came from the entire government. That hasn't happened. So, and if we still in control of it, and I'm not talking about the things that cost, I'm talking about being able to promote those concerts and those events, some of which has happened, reaching out to our churches and people who could do gospel events, article events, whatever. Because the ultimate success, I think once people experience it, they're gonna really like it. The problem is people ride by it every day and they don't stop. So what I'm asking, and what I'm asking now that you have been hired, I'm assuming permanently as the executive director, and all those other folks who are in their professional position, is that not over the next 99 years, within the next year, that we do some things to bring people in communities and organizations who haven't tasted it, who haven't experienced it, to come and experience it. And then once they experience it, then you're going to have that buy-in. They're going to say, oh, look how beautiful, look how awesome, look how functional this thing is. And then we're going to be able to see all of Lafayette benefit from it.
Absolutely.
You understand that?
Yes.
That's what I told the consultants. Are they still with us?
Yeah, they're still with us.
Okay, so,
Yes, sir.
we need to get them back. I would like to get a report from them, because that's what I want to see, okay? That's what I would like to see, because I'm afraid that if we don't do that, the park is being designed, and we had the charrettes in the public meetings, and we know what the turnout was as it relates to that, okay? So the design has been talked about, but I'm sure there's going to be some missing elements. That's just the way it happens. So we're going to have it designed, and before you know, we're going to have it built, and we're going to have it being utilized, but it's going to be limited. And then we're going to go back and somebody's going to research and they're going to say, all this tax money that was spent and done, why does it seem as though only a segment of our society is getting utilization of it?
Right.
I want everybody to have something to go there to do. So whatever we can do, and like I've offered in the past, whatever I can do to help facilitate that. I suggested that some people there's an awesome lady called Matilda Martin. She's been doing music for 50 years, taught school for about 40 of those years. I know she could coordinate a beautiful concert. That's who does the ecumenical choir for Martin Luther King. Cross-section of churches, white linen on the tables underneath the oak trees, but I need something. I really, really do, but not over 99 years.
Okay.
Soon.
No, I'd love to visit with you about that, especially now that we've taken over events. I'm more than happy to talk about how we can do that in the next year before we begin construction. Just as a point, we do have the National Day of Prayer coming up. I can't remember the date, so maybe Sidra, if you know that. May 4th is going to be a National Day of Prayer out there. We also have Party in the Park, which is kind of our day festival. That'll be May 14th. And then we also have a summer concert series coming up that we'll have 5 concerts out there with a diverse amount of kind of musical genres represented. So if you have anybody interested you want to kind of throw into the mix for that, we'd be all ears. And as far as the community meetings, we really did try to get out to all of the, different kind of parts of town at different times and locations, did a lot at the MLK Center. We went to like the Senior Citizens Day at MLK Center and got like over 200 surveys that we like manually entered and stuff. So we did try to capture as much of the kind of diverse population's opinions about what we should and should not have in the park. So It's not always perfect, but we certainly did try to do our best, so.
Right. Now, this body here, this council, the design, as if I remember, once there is a design that for the entire park, that will be brought back to us?
Yes, so we have the master plan, which was passed.
Right.
And what we're finishing up is the schematic design, which is the level of detail down. And we hope to bring that to you at our next presentation, because we've pretty much finalized everything. There's a couple of elements that are being fine-tuned, and then as soon as that's done, we'll bring it back.
Okay. Now, we have our engineer on board. I've seen their work through LCG, and I understand that you have somebody, did I hear you say design, someone is...
Design workshop.
The design workshop has that. Now, all of these opportunities to do these things, were they put out to public bid, or how was those things handled?
No, so actually Lafayette Central Park at this time is operating on Lafayette Public Trust Financing Authority money. The nonprofit put out a call for proposals over the entire country and had 16 different submissions. Some of them were local, lots of them were statewide, and several were national. And we went through a really rigorous process selecting that one
So
last
it was an
firm.
open process, yeah?
Oh, it was an open process.
Many people applied?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It just didn't have to be, it was not public funding, so it didn't have to be a public bid process. At least that was what we were kind of operating under. So but we still are operating on that funding. We have about $650,000 of that funding left, and that's going to continue to pay all of the design fees for the landscape architecture.
And that's going to go through LPTFA also?
Well, they actually just granted it to us, so we're just spending it. We have this budget that we've approved with them. We check back in with them regularly and are just spending down the last draw. That makes sense.
It does, but you said that you all did a national search or request for proposals?
Yes, sir.
Because of LPTFA, that was their process or your process?
I think that was our process. We should probably, I mean, I'm happy to look into.
We could follow up on that.
But.
The point is, I want us to remain very open.
Absolutely.
Especially when we start the build out. And of course, local businesses, small and emergent businesses, things that we're trying to improve upon in this area. Whenever there's going to be an opportunity to engage local, small and emergent, we need to do that.
Absolutely. Okay. And a lot of the project actually will go to public bid. So feel rest assured that millions of it will stay within the community.
Thank you very much. Look forward to the next update.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Terrio.
Ms. Brooks, just to follow up on, I think, what was just said, you mentioned that you all had received some revenues from the LPTFA. What was the total amount? Remind us on that.
It was just under $2.6 million.
That's what I thought.
It was their largest grant, I think, to date.
And you mentioned now you're down to about 650,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This phase one, how long before that is completed and before the next phase is supposed to take place?
Well, we actually have two parts of phase one. The first is the infrastructure, which is about a $3 million project. That's going to start this fall. And then that will take probably about 6 months to build, would you say, Brett? And then we'll come back with phase 1B, which is, you know, what goes on top of the infrastructure and what goes around the parking lot and the driveways. And that will probably take about the same amount of time. I think we're anticipating the first phase being about a year to a year and a half of construction. But we were actually, part of what we worked on today is figuring out how we can carve off just a portion of it so we don't have to close the park down. We can just work on a specific area and then leave the rest of it open to the public.
Okay. Just one final thing, and bear with me. I don't mean to put you on a spot here, but we understand that the horse farm eventually is going to be taken out of LCG's preview or authority at some point in time. Am I correct in saying that? From what I remember on previous information provided to the council.
Yes,
how long before that would happen?
That happens the day that we turn a shovel. So the 99-year lease that we have kind of waiting essentially will be enacted as soon as we begin construction this fall.
Okay.
And we will take over all, operation, maintenance, everything of the park at that point.
Okay. A couple of individuals that contacted me, they say we've heard that LCG currently is not expending any monies for the horse farm at this point, but yet a number of residents have driven by and they see public works equipment and people out there that are working continuously. You're looking at 100 acres of land. That takes a long time to maintain and keep up. So is that still happening?
It is, but what was actually explained to me is that with all due respect, apparently your bridge funding is really limited, your infrastructure funding, and that is actually a bridge crew that would be sitting on their hands all day. From what I understand, like, they are literally just filling their day with work that they would already be paid for civil service, and they've just been reassigned to the horse farm because we don't have bridge work for them to do, because we don't have the money to fix bridges.
Okay, now wait a minute. That just opened a whole new door here.
That's what I thought, that's what I understood, that it is a bridge crew.
Basically, we have employees that may not have work, and we're using them at the horse farm in order to do this?
I do not. I do know it's a bridge crew that is out there. Dang. I could be wrong. I didn't mean to misspeak, but that is what I was told, that it was Public Works employees that work on a bridge crew.
Okay, because, again...
That was Tom here.
Yes, Mr. Carroll, if you don't mind, let me, she put us in a direction that you probably do not care to get into.
I have some work for that bridge crew, if you don't mind.
Yes, yes. Mr. Carroll, if you could elaborate on your understanding, I don't want to take what Ms. Brooks said and twist it, but...
Incorrect.
Yes.
And obviously, you understand, I'm just back after a year and a half gone, but even prior to my departure from here, it was suggested that our bridge crews assist in cutting the grasses. Our bridge crews have plenty to do, and they still have plenty to do, but we have been assisting all this time in doing maintenance at the horse farm.
Okay, so we still are, and again, we're looking at 100 acres of land that has to be bush hog cut, trimmed, weed-eated, finishing moors the work. Mr. Carroll, what kind of time frame are we looking at? I have, I got 12 and a half acres, and I know how long it takes to take care of that. If you're looking at 100 acres.
I'm not sure how long it takes to completely mow the grass, but I know that occasionally there are events there where they ask us specifically to go in certain areas and make sure those areas are cut, mowed, and neat. But there are some areas probably that don't need the regularity of maintenance. Once you get way back in the horse farm, we can do that on a less frequent basis. But, especially up in the front where everyone's seeing that, we probably cut it on a fairly regular basis. And of course, now we're just getting back in the growing season again.
Okay. I guess, Ms. Brooks, what I'm getting at is that, in my opinion, naturally we want to see the horse farm. And one of my first things after seeing the video is that, I was going to say, how long before you can make that happen? The video looks great.
Yeah.
But we want to see the horse farm stand alone and be successful in that, Public Works crews can get back to their normal operations and not have a liability, or I say a liability, but a demand to have them there on a continuous basis.
Absolutely.
Mr. Carroll, what I'll do is to save time, I'll get with you in the future and we can have more discussion on this. Ms. Brooks, I'll give you a call also and we can have a discussion on that.
And I may have misspoke. I don't work for Public Works, so I don't actually know. That was just what was inferred to me, so sorry about that.
No, and that's fine. We appreciate it. Mr. Carroll, thank you. That's all I have for now, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Zeber.
Hello. Evie, I know how hard you and your team work to have been working to fundraise, to promote this park, and I know you want as many people as possible, no matter age, color, whatever the case may be. I want to give you the opportunity to be able to, because we have more than 7 people here tonight, I want to give you the opportunity to tell them, not just people here, but the people watching at home, how they can find out about your events, so that way anyone can come to, whether, like you said, it's patio in the park or the farmer's market on a Saturday, etc. I want to give you the opportunity to maybe say whether it's, for instance, I get it on Facebook, but maybe go through that and tell everyone how they can find out about your events.
Thank you for reminding me to do that. So we have a website, LafayetteCentralPark.org, and you can visit there, and we have all sorts of information about the project. You can watch that video again and see all of our renderings and master plan. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lafayette Central Park. We post all of our events on that page as well. We also have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have a YouTube page, so we're basically on all of the social media platforms. You can also sign up for our newsletter. Go to our website, LafayetteCentralPark.org, and at the bottom it says, click here to receive our email newsletter. We are still finalizing the lineup on the summer concert series and on the Party in the Park, so those aren't quite posted yet, but stay tuned and we'll have those up as soon as they are finalized.
Okay, great. Thank you, Evie.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Mr. Boudreau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess Liz just kind of, stimulated a little thought, and I want to make sure that you understand. I think that your efforts in particular, I mean, I've watched your work, and that's probably why you were selected as the executive director. I'm certainly not questioning your effort to make this park succeed. And there are a lot of events, obviously, that are planned, and people can be made aware of those events. But let me be very specific. People go to things that they are interested in. So we have to then not only put on an event, we have to evaluate the culture and the offering and the interest. So what I want to leave here today is that the effort that you have put forth and have been very successful at, you individually and the entire board and group, I'm saying that extend your reach and identify things that other people are interested in and would draw them there. I did not say people are not there. The park be packed. It's who's there. I want to grow that population, okay, and that diversity. So your efforts have been great. I've been to the website, like William said, the video is awesome. You know, it's going to be a beautiful thing, but it will be a failure if everybody do not feel welcomed, wanted, invited, inspired, encouraged, and feel that they have ownership of. Because, you know, one of the hiccups was that this one day will not be a public piece of property anymore. Even with the investment that had been made, it's going to be a privately owned piece of property that was bought with $6 million of public funds, okay?
Well, it will be always publicly owned.
It will be public.
Just lease.
Controlled,
We'll
right.
just lease.
For a dollar.
But it'll always be a public park.
Yeah. You get my point.
I do.
So the public is not going to control it. The public they will go to a private board, private bodies. The thing is that we want it to be reflective of that public that owns it, as you say.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm looking for, is to capture even broader audience than we already have. And then we could see, you know, veterans issues out there. We could see our brothers from the Indian population there. We could see African Americans. We could see our Latino and Mexican friends, and just everybody out there. Okay, and that's when I think we're going to be really, really successful. And then there's going to be a couple events where all those people are going to be all together at the same time. Okay?
Absolutely. Well, I will work with you to make sure that happens this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Evie. I did do a tour with you, remember?
Yeah.
And I would encourage those that have not gone to really go out there because it's really, really nice. But as we were touring, you remember one question I did ask you? If you guys are planning on having vendors, food trucks and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember you telling me yes. So I didn't answer you then, but I kept thinking, so my question is, how will you reach out to these people that would like to have food trucks or sell some type of food or sell something in the park to make sure everyone has an equal opportunity to be a vendor and, you know, make some money, because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to be an entrepreneur and make money. So I'd like to know if you have any ideas how you're going to reach out to these people.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways this year at least is coming out to our events, and we'd welcome, you know, anybody who's interested in being at our Party in the Park or these concert series. That would be helpful. There's also the farmers market. I forgot to touch on that when Liz asked. That happens weekly from 8 to noon, and you actually can apply to be a vendor there and sell. They have food trucks, and they also have just a market booth where you just set up a 10 by 10. They sell tamales that are out of this world and that kind of stuff. So I would welcome people to go through those two avenues. And then once the park is open, once we actually take control of the property, we'll have a very easy kind of application process for people who want to be a vendor, because I think it's important for us to somewhat limit who's there every day, like, so we don't flood it with people who don't end up making money. So we only have like 1 or 2 food trucks, so we can schedule it. But we absolutely, since we won't have a restaurant out there, at least for a very long time, we hope to really encourage that food culture so that people can go there for lunch and just grab a sandwich at the food truck and head out for a picnic in the middle of a workday.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? Don't see anything. Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
I really appreciate the
Appreciate it.
opportunity. We'll see you next time.
Okay, next, Mr. Robles, you have the floor. Debris drop-off day?
Yes. I'd like to bring up Mark Pope for just a minute to expand a little bit on what Councilman Lewis had talked about, the drop-off.
Thank you, Mayor Robideau. Mark Pope, Environmental Manager. And good evening, council members. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for bringing that up. Just a couple of quick pertinent details. The debris drop is, as you said, Saturday, March 19th. It's 7:30 a.m. till noon at the 5 parks that I'll mention quickly. We need to thank our partner, Republic Services, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. This is intended for waste that people have at their homes that is not normally picked up. So things like wood, metal, we're going to take up to 5 tires. That's very important. 5 tires only. We have to sign a list because it's a program provided for free by the state DEQ. And just generally any unwanted waste around your house. And there are some things we do not want that we cannot put in a dumpster. No furniture, please. No large appliances. No chemicals. No automotive batteries. No compressed gas cylinders. No medical waste, ammunition. Don't laugh, we've seen that stuff. And no power equipment with a gasoline engine, such as a lawnmower and edger. And no waste from businesses, please. So what I meant was items that are not normally picked up by the waste company. Everybody, all 55,000 households served by Republic Services have once a month what we call bulky waste. That's things like furniture and large appliances. We don't want somebody hauling a 125-pound refrigerator to our debris drop-off when it's picked up in front of your house. So the sheet that Ms. Williams gave you is going to be passed out at the debris drop-off. So people will be able to find out what week of the month they have the furniture, the large appliances picked up at their homes. And also the items we're not taking, such as a compressed gas cylinder, what do you do with that? It's on here, it tells you where to bring that. So we're asking people, please come 7:30 a.m. till noon at the 5 parks, which are Neyland Park, Moore Park, Plantation Park, Beaver Park, and Brown Park. Get all the info at LafayetteLA.gov. List of what we take and don't take, or call the office this week, please, at 291-8529.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Councilman? Don't see no questions.
No, that's all I have,
That's
Mr.
it?
Chairman. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Moving right along. We're moving to ceremonial presentations. Liz, can you read the first one, please?
Proclamation, Red and White Day for Lafayette Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, Liz. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Boudreau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was instructed by our clerk to wear red today, or I would not get any of my emails for the next month. So for those who were inquiring, some members were saying they missed the memo. It was just a little private thing. But Liz, of course, in her infinite wisdom, she's always on point. But I do have a proclamation I would like to share, and I would ask at this time that the members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority please come forward. And I would ask that our clerk also take the opportunity to join her sorority sisters. The proclamation reads, whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority was founded January 13th, 1913 by 22 collegiate women at Howard University, and whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority was incorporated in 1930 and is a private nonprofit organization that provides assistance and a support through established programs in local communities and throughout the world. And whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is the largest African-American Greek-lettered sorority, a sisterhood of more than 200,000 predominantly African-American college-educated women. And whereas the Social Action Committee of the Lafayette Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated acknowledges the vision of Red and White Day that began at the Louisiana Legislature in 1984 and has resulted in Red and White Day stemming from a Louisiana tradition, observed by many of the sororities' more than 1,000 chapters throughout the country and held annually at the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. And whereas members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated are to be congratulated for their outstanding achievements in community service for the past 103 years, today we recognize the Lafayette Alumni Chapter as they celebrate their third annual Red and White Day. And whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated uses 5-point program thrust of economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement to uplift, encourage, and develop the global community. Therefore, I, Kenneth Boudreaux, Vice Chairman of the Lafayette City Parish Council of the Lafayette Consolidated Government, in conjunction with the entire Lafayette City Parish Council, congratulate members on their outstanding achievements and contributions to the city of Lafayette, and do hereby proclaim this 15th day of March 2016 as the Lafayette Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated third annual Red and White Day. Signed by yours truly and sealed by the clerk of the council, who is actually a member of this organization, our very own Miss Veronica Williams. And I just thank those ladies for coming out and being present, especially during Women's History Month as well. So congratulations and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Our esteemed Mayor President is going to join me for a picture. Yeah. He got the memo. He did put on the tie. How's everybody?
He can stand in the back if you don't mind. Suppose coattail.
I don't want to block him.
Coattail him up.
Right. A few words, please. Sure. You gotta come back, Joe.
Joe don't want to come back.
I was gonna sneak out with
He was blending in.
Yeah, y'all could keep it now. Y'all keep it for a few minutes. That's okay.
Good evening, Council. My name is Leah Tapo, and I'm the president of the Lafayette Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Delta Sigma Theta is a nationally recognized organization who has been implementing programs and projects that have stimulated social action in Lafayette and surrounding areas for over 30 years. My sorors and I have come before you today to express our gratitude for the proclamation that recognizes our third annual Red and White Day. Red and White Day on the national, state, and local level is a powerful day of direct social action, engaging our legislatures and elected officials in educating ourselves on issues involving and/or surrounding the community. Red and White Day is essential in creating ideas that may resolve these issues. We would also like to express our appreciation for the partnership with the Black Pages of Greater Lafayette. We look forward to your support again as we begin preparing our 17th edition. Our chapter plans to continue the legacy of scholarship and service to the Acadiana area. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Again, thank you all for coming out. It's always an honor to recognize this great organization for the work that you do. As you said, to partner with the Black Pages that do receive some partial funding from LCG and all the other events that you all participate in this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all forgetting Joel. Don't forget Joel. Okay. Liz, go ahead and read the next one, please.
Proclamation, St. Thomas More High School Boys Soccer Team State Champions.
Cook, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. All right, boys, young men, if you'd like to come on up. It is my honor to recognize this group of young men who, through their hard work and dedication, have achieved success through the STM athletic program. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation as soon as they get in place here. Spread out, there we go. All right, here we go. Whereas Casey Friend serves as the plant director and facility coordinator at St. Thomas More High School. When not tending to the school responsibilities, Casey puts his effort into coaching the STM soccer team. Through his leadership and that of his staff, the team excelled and garnered the Division II state championship, a feat last accomplished in 2001. And whereas for the past 5 years, Coach Casey guided his 21-member team to maintain at least a 2.0 grade point average on top of attending an intense 3-hour daily practice. And whereas Coach Casey attributes a record of 19 wins, 6 losses, and 6 tied games to a progressive coaching staff that includes John Cook, Miles Hesterly, and Will LaBar. This year, 8 seniors will carry their learned skills from their coaches onto colleges across the United States. And whereas Justin Guidry, Armin LaSalle, Joseph Oliver, Blake Bellagio, Josh Toomey, Nathan Radslaff, Andre Picard, and Ronnie Rodriguez will end their high school playing days upon graduation in May. And whereas senior player Ronnie Rodriguez was named Most Valuable Player of the District and of the championship game held February 26, 2016 at Tad Gormley Stadium in New Orleans. And whereas overall the STM boys team consists of 48 members who are all to be congratulated, as well as the highly energized student body for an outstanding year of soccer at STM. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Lafayette City Parish Council on this 15th day of March 2016 that today we congratulate members of the St. Thomas More boys soccer team and their coaches for their hard work and ultimate winning accomplishments in their chosen sport. Congratulations, boys. I'm gonna just let.
Wait for Miss Cook now.
Yeah,
Wait for the lady. Wait for the
Joel
lady.
can't hog everything. Y'all got to give Miss Cook some of that.
Get in the middle.
Get closer in there.
Push your way in.
I'll stand by John.
Nanette, where's the coach? I mean, everybody look 18 right here.
I'm the coach.
You the coach, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
19.
29, looking like I'm 19.
There you go.
I know. And thank you all so much, by the way, for the proclamation. And Miss Annette, thank you so much. The boys really enjoyed it.
Hang on a second. Nanette wants.
Can we let them introduce themselves? Can we have them introduce themselves and
Sure.
maybe tell what year they're in so we know what kind of soccer program we're going to have for the next couple of years?
Absolutely. Grab a mic.
Step up and make a little line. You go that way.
I'm Grant Rodriguez, and I'm a junior.
I'm Orman LaSalle. I'm a senior. I'm Christian Kwame, and I'm a junior.
I'm Josh Toomey, and I'm a senior.
I'm Jack Meyer, and I'm a junior.
Andre Picard, and I'm a senior.
Josh Hardware, I'm a junior.
Landon Sellers, I'm a freshman. Nathan Ratzliff, I'm a senior. Blake Bolgiano, it's Italian, by the way. I'm a senior.
Sorry about that.
Justin Guidry, I'm a senior. Michael Faccio, I'm a junior.
Ethan Troho, I'm a junior.
Grant Artigo, I'm a sophomore.
I taught him.
Connor Lachele, junior.
Parker Poche, I'm a junior. Joseph Olivier, I'm a senior. Ronnie Rodriguez, and I'm a senior.
Coaches, get up there, you last two, come on.
Thank the council again. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. It was a great year. John Cook, coach.
Son of Nanette.
That's him.
Miles Hesterly, freshman coach. Casey Friend, I'm the head coach of all of this, and luckily 48 players that I get to coach, freshman, JV, and varsity. It's actually a privilege. Most high schools in this area only have, some are lucky to just fill the varsity team. I have 3, so I'm very, very fortunate, and a busy man, as you can see. And thank you very much.
Casey, here, I'm gonna give you this.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He'll be back.
Very good, guys.
Can I just want to say one more thing, not, y'all are great, y'all are good. Y'all may not want to hear this. Actually, in respect for our Councilman Nakam, for his alma mater, Acadiana, they did also make it to state as well. They finished as runner-ups. I just wanted to give him a little shout out. He left, so you please back me up and let him know that I did give him a shout out.
Sure, I'll tell him. Thank you, ma'am.
It's not, that's it.
Okay. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to move into comments from the public. Can you read, Liz? Okay. This is from comments from the public, other matters on this, not on this agenda. This portion of the meeting is an opportunity to make your voice heard before the council, administration, and the public. This is the time to speak about topics that are not included as an agenda item. As I noted earlier, requests to make comments specific to agenda items should be made prior to the call of that agenda item by completing a blue request to address the council forum for each agenda item you wish to address, with that agenda item number noted on the blue form. Please, we request that all matters regarding specific city parish employees be directed to the administration and that it not be addressed at this public forum. We as a council have a concern for the privacy and protection of government employees. With that said, however, if your concern is not resolved in either an expeditious or satisfactory fashion, there are other avenues which you can pursue, and we ask that you follow up with the council office. Also, confrontational statements and/or threats will not be tolerated. We ask that you conduct yourself in a civil manner and with the same courtesy that you would expect of others, and the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Ms. Williams, first blue card.
The first of 3 speakers, Dennis Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to address this group. Could you give me, whoever the timekeeper is, give me updates? That's a minute, that's 2, or maybe a minute won't be necessary. Dear Mayor Robideau, members of the City Parish Council, and citizens of the Chico Aquifer watershed, thank you for the opportunity to submit a comment into the record today. I would like to begin by thanking you for the resources made available on the internet for the Connector website through DOTD. In the course of my investigations there, I found some interesting documents, particularly a Water Resources Technical Report number 73, entitled Thickness of the Chico Aquifer System and the Superficial Confining Unit, which is the shale that seals it, and the location of shallow sands in southwestern Louisiana. This is a study written by a gentleman by the name of Pierre Sargent for the U.S. Geological Survey. He is with the U.S. Geological Survey. It was done in 2004. It appears to have been commissioned by the DOTD itself. In layman's terms, it's a study of the surface clays that function to seal the top of the primary source of drinking water in our primary source in southwestern Louisiana, the Chico Aquifer freshwater sand. This paper gathers data from well logs and recorded well screen depths of registered water wells to estimate how thick the protective clay is called the superficial confining unit are, and how prevalent shallow, potentially fluid communicative sands might be within the stratum. Among the things I found interesting were the following quoted items. Interbedded sands are collectively known as the shallow sands of the Chico aquifer system. They occur irregularly throughout the confining unit and may be hydraulically connected to the underlying sediments. The next one I'll try to ad-lib because time's going to be a factor. The impermeable barrier assumption that we've always had about this shale layer has had problems with a contamination site in southeastern Louisiana where the amount of vertical hydraulic permittivity was 4 times what the lab experiments had shown we should expect. Another comment from page 2 of the same document. Although the thickness of the confining unit may be relatively uniform across large areas, interbedded sands of various thicknesses are present throughout this unit, and the sands and those sands can communicate. Jones and others in 56 described 2 areas where the depth to the major sand, is less than 50 feet thick. One area is southern Vernon and Rapides Parish, and the other is the course of the Vermilion River through Lafayette, St. Martin, and Vermilion parishes. An exception to the southward thickening of this sealing layer occurs in parts of the Vermilion and Lafayette parishes along the approximate route of the Vermilion River, figure 1, where the confining unit thins to between 40 and 80 feet thick. How am I doing on time?
Minute and a half.
All right, so that's very critical right there. So that's a quote from this study, and it says that the protective layer is very thin at that point. All right, so basically, this report provides a basis for concern for all of the people that drink the waters of the Chico. And basically, what I would ask the city parish council or the mayor to do is to step up the feedback from the DOTD about this particular concern. I've been to every meeting that I can attend. If I miss the community work groups, I go to the technical work group meetings. In none of these meetings is the public allowed to speak. My concerns regarding our drinking water aquifer were submitted after the Saturday workshop at the Progressive Baptist Church. And since that time, I've had no public acknowledgement that DOTD even recognizes that we may have a problem with this contaminated site on the Southern Pacific Railroad yard. So what I want somebody to do, somebody with a better voice than mine, is to stand up and say, hey, just let us know that you really have our water concerns in mind, and that you're going to watch out because we poke through and we're going to be in a bad place. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Boudreau?
Mr. Sullivan, if you contact my office, I may have some information for you tomorrow. Actually, Terry Huval is going to be on a panel with me on tomorrow for the Upper Lafayette Economic Development Authority, and I understand that he is going to have some data, certainly as it relates to our representative here as our LUS director and our water source. So if you reach out to my office, I would be more than happy to provide you whatever data that he presents and that I could obtain for him to address this specific issue. Excellent. As it relates to the aquifer. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Boudreau.
All right, you're welcome.
Is it Mr. Boudreau?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Next speaker, please.
Joey Broussard.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Joey Broussard. 24 days ago, I buried a dear friend of mine by the name of Quinn Dejean at the age of 38. I was with him on the third tier of the float that Friday night, and you just can't imagine the helplessness and sorrow I have felt since then, not being able to catch and stop him from falling off the float. Though it was an accident, not caused by wires or tree branches, I'm here tonight to plead with you because many of you are new, including our president, to please make not only the floats, but the parade route as well safer for riders before the next Mardi Gras parade at night rolls through Lafayette on February 18, 2017, which is approximately 11 months from now. Make it mandatory for the float company to install large eye hooks on each side of the third tier for riders who may want to install a harness or safety belt, due to the fact that the walls are only waist high. When I ask to put eye hooks on the float, I am told I can't because the crews have to sign an agreement stating that if someone puts nails or screws on the float, they get fined by the float company. Hooks are not necessary for the first and second tier because the walls reach you at your chest. The fronts are open on the second and third tiers with no type of safety crossbar or anything to stop a rider from falling from one tier to the other if the float would jerk, and they do jerk, I promise you. So I had an iron crossbar made to close the opening on the third tier of the float for my own safety. I began riding in the Friday night parade 14 years ago, and year after year the parade route has become more and more dangerous for float riders on the top tier of the floats, especially from the beginning of the parade route where the floats are parked to the St. Julian Johnson Street intersection. Other cities have told me they have specific wire height guidelines for parade routes. I don't understand why Lafayette doesn't have restrictions also, and if they do, why are they not being enforced? LUS Fiber, Cox, and AT&T are running cables lower and lower on the telephone poles, crossing the parade route without thinking of the height of floats with riders on top. There used to be only one or two so-called dangerous locations that I found that I'd had to watch for, but now there are about a dozen or so locations, if not more, where if riders don't see the cables coming, they would get hit in the head, face, or neck, and with the chance of getting thrown off balance and being knocked off the float. Honestly, I'm surprised this has never happened before. Just imagine yourself on the top tier of the float trying to see black cables in the air at night while the floats are rolling, and you are looking downward throwing beads or toys to revelers on the ground level. Almost impossible to see the cables. On Surrey Street, there are actually power lines that if you stay standing on the top tier of the float, the lines hit you at your chest. Then there are the oak trees on Johnson Street between the Episcopal and Presbyterian churches, where right now if you pass, you see orange caution ribbon hanging from low branches. I was told the city was informed about the concerns of riders hitting their heads on the branches and even a float getting stuck at one time during a parade, and that was why the orange ribbon on the trunks were installed, was to show caution. When I began a float rider, those same branches were about head height, and now they've gotten bigger and heavier and are at chest height, if not lower, missing the tops of the floats by about 12 to 18 inches or so. I brought a tree specialist to show them the tree branches and explain to them what was happening, and they said it would be healthier for the oak trees if their branches were cut and raised rather than being hit and seriously damaged. Same with the oak tree branches near the university. I don't understand why the trees have not been trimmed back like the city has had companies do to trees on other streets, trimming branches 10 feet from wires. Mr. Buford with the Decoration Unlimited company in Abbeville told me that they would be willing to bring one of those three-tiered floats here for y'all to ride and put a couple of people on the third tier so that y'all could start and ride on it from the red light at Surrey, because I'm on the last float, at Johnson Street, following the parade route to see where all the dangers are. Please, I'm asking y'all to do this and make the adjustments necessary for the rides to be safe before there's another accident, because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. You can't see these big black cables. The wires should not go lower than the middle of the red lights. And y'all just don't know. I didn't sleep for 4 nights, people. And I had to leave for 5 days. Y'all need to look at this. It's getting dangerous for the parade route. It really is. And I have Mr. Buford and Mr. Durant's phone numbers if y'all care to have them. He said they'd be willing to bring a float for y'all to see the dangers. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Terrio.
Yes, sir.
One thing I want to mention is that after the incident happened, I was approached by a number of people. I know some of these council members have ridden on floats, the administration also, so I think they're aware of the third tier and how off balance it can be.
Yes, sir.
One question that was brought to me was a little research done by a number of other individuals that may prevent some of this, is that it is required in certain cities for the third section, the highest level, to have harnesses in certain cities and incorporated areas. So
Yes, sir.
I know that's not required here in Lafayette at this point. I don't know if it's something this council's interested in looking at in the event that somebody would get hit, catch a branch or a wire. Instead of pulling them over, if they are harnessed in, then naturally that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Now, as for the issue of the trees and the branches, I mean, you have to understand that's a huge endeavor to look at in order to look at, you know, all the wires, their heights, and all the trees and everything along a parade route. So I guess the first thing before we start looking at making those adjustments is, what are the requirements of the floats? How high can that third tier be, and is it going beyond the requirements that it should be, that's causing a problem with the wires and the tree branches?
Well, I know I asked them how long those floats. I've been riding on the same float for 14 years, the same float. And when I started riding 14 years ago, I only had 1 or 2 wires I remember having to worry about, except for recently. And the oak trees by the Episcopal Presbyterian Church, they used to be at high level 14 years ago. I trim my oak trees every 3 years, so they do get large and they do get heavy, and I'm understanding that's why the orange ribbon was put on the branches. But if you look at one of those oak trees right now, it's just waiting for a major hurricane or something, and that one branch is making it lean onto Johnson Street so bad that it's going to end up falling on the highway. And the tree surgeon said it would actually be healthier for the tree to help it start going more straight up rather than leading over the street if that branch was cut. I mean, I know it's an endeavor. I just spent $2,500 cleaning the 2 oak trees in my property, you know. But for the safety of all the riders, I mean, we have, 4-night parades, I believe? I'm surprised the Mardi Gras Association has never come back, you know, and asked y'all to check into this. But these cables are really bad. In fact, there's one of them that hit me in the face in front of Capital One on Vermillion Street. And I went over there just to see, and this cable's about this big, went to see who it was that ran it. And it was AT&T. And I said, my gosh, when we're turning and we're throwing beads in that to revelers, you just don't have time to see them cables coming for you in your face. And it hit me in the face. So it's like, goodness gracious, you know, somebody's got to come talk to them. And since y'all almost all a new council, you know, because when I got back I had to leave for 5 days to calm my senses. And I read Mr. Robideau's, you know, article, because I think the Daily Advertiser had asked them about harnesses. And yes, New Orleans and Houma, they're required. I know some people fell off, but at least if you have the opportunity to put a harness or a safety belt, I'd be the first one to do it. I had a metal bar made to close off the front opening where you have to climb up the ladder, because that's where I used to stand at. And when the float would stop, if you weren't careful, you could have fallen on the second tier. How this has never happened before, I'm yet to understand, you know. But I was told I couldn't put nothing. So I had a metal thing made to where I could hook to protect myself.
Well, let's do this. You provided us with a lot of information. I'm sure you caught the attention of our Public Works Director, who's, you know, familiar with all the streets and the branches. I guess one of the first questions I have is, before this council or this body needs to get involved with creating legislation, is it possible to where the third-tier riders can have harnesses at this point? That's what we need to find out. Why can't the floats have, like you said, some kind of connection with a harness that becomes the option of the third-tier rider?
Now, the harnesses will stop us from falling off like what happened with Quinn. Quinn unfortunately was an accident. I went down to get beads. He leaned over too far because he was 6'6". You know, I mean, the third tier reaches you right here.
Was he harnessed?
No.
I didn't think he was.
And it wouldn't have mattered with the harnesses or not, because then if you put harnesses on, you'd probably end up getting split in half or something with the oak trees, because the oak trees are only about, Mr. Floats, only about 12. You know, you have to really lean down all the way now for the oak trees.
You can bend down, though, to the level of the third
exactly.
tier, though, which
yes,
is
sir.
what we've all
so
done.
The harness, if you've got to lead the harness that loose, you're almost defeating the purpose.
Well, it
So-
depends, from the third
Yeah.
tier down to the ground's a long ways.
Yeah, it is, because I sure wish I could
Four-
have catched him. I promise you, I wish I was Superman that night.
Right, but
You know.
anyway, that's all I have for now. Thank you so
All right.
much for your time, sir.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Terrio. Ms. Cook?
Oh, I'm sorry.
First of all, I'm sorry, very sorry for your loss. But I do want you to know that we have been looking into the harness potential for floats. We've talked to some people that, create builders of the floats and figuring out, there's so many different designs and figuring out how we can make something like that work. So we are, we're interested in looking into it. I'm not sure, what's gonna happen with it right now, but it is something that we are looking into. But
Thank
if you
you.
would leave your contact information, I would love to talk with you some more about all the different other issues that you were talking about tonight. So-
That'd be wonderful. My conscience made me come. I had to, because I felt if I wouldn't have come and addressed the issue and somebody else, something would have happened later on because nothing would have happened. I didn't want it to be said that y'all didn't know the dangers that are going on with the parade right now, especially the past few years. The past 5 or 6 years, it's gotten the worse. It really has. And I love the third tier, because the third tier, you can throw on both sides.
The most fun up there.
Thank you, it is. Yeah, it is, All right, thank y'all very much then.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Okay. Next speaker, please.
Wallace, Senegal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last time I was here, I had a little emergency. I had to leave. I got a little time tonight. Wallace, Senegal, community activist, concerned citizen in the community. I want to thank Mayor Joe Robideau, Patrick Lewis for doing some of the things that need to be done, as far as I'm concerned, on the underpass. It's beginning to look up. It's not as trashy as it used to look from the last administration. Moss Street. They're talking about restriping Moss Street. We're talking about moving the utility services on Moss Street. Restriping Moss Street is not the best idea, and I know it's all DOTD project, but at the same token, I know our council people have something to say about it. Restriping Moss Street to one lane each way, I think is a disaster. They showed samples or examples of Appleville, Carroll Crow, and some town in Morgan City. Well, they don't have a transit system going down those roads like Moss Street have. And if we're going to change the utility system over there, I think it would be a big disaster. I already made up my mind. Once it be striped to 3 lane, I can't go down there no more, especially if I'm going to get behind a bus, a school bus or anything. We're just going to have a big disaster down on Moss Street from Jefferson Street to Alexander. Thank you, guys. Hey, y'all, keep up the good work. It's a pleasure coming here now.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, Mr. Senegal, you say something about, I know you're talking about the Moss Street, about moving the, to pay utility bills, I guess what you're talking about, to Moss Street?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Robideau, so the one over here is going to be closed down? It's not going to remain open, or anyone know about that?
I don't know.
I can address that. Mr. Lewis, that is correct. The relocation of the revenue collection from City Hall to Moss Street is actually a project that I initiated. And the purpose, it solves or it addresses a couple of different issues. I guess first starting here, there was a safety concern expressed by employees and others as it relates to people who were coming to pay their bills but were not aware that you could enter into revenue collection from the outside. They were coming into the halls of City Hall and they were ending up all over the place, somewhat lost. Secondly, the traffic situation that is created out on St. John or St. Landry out there with the limited capacity of the 2 lanes. If you ever hear on a bill paying day, often the cars are backed up into the roadway, and they create a significant traffic congestion and a safety hazard. So that took care of some safety issues as it relates to here. But since I've been here, I've had the fortune of going to some trainings and some conferences and trying to look at best practices and how people do things. And the old DMV model is when you take some government operations and locate them in communities where economic development and other development has been slowed or limited, that it brings a population into the area. Okay, so that location there on Mall Street, which was an abandoned location, which ultimately would have become blighted property, which of course we don't want blighted property either, but unfortunately that's what happens in our communities, is that we had the opportunity to take that facility over, because you will see, and I'll show it to you going forward, that there was a plan to put LUS at the Clifton Chenier Center when Clifton Chenier was built. And for whatever reason, I wasn't around at that time, that didn't happen. Since that time, of course, we've built a south location where we have revenue collection and fiber services at Pinhook and Kali Saloon. So in an attempt to improve upon services and access and to cater to what arguably is the population that pays bills in person more than anybody, more than any other population, we identified this location on Moss Street. So we will have the opportunity to locate some employees there. We're going to have the opportunity to bring population there, and hopefully they will get their milk and their bread and their gas and their hamburgers, which are a brand new facility is opening up right across the street from there. It prevents the blighting, the additional blighting of property within our communities, okay? So it enhances and encourages. And it's a significant capital investment in places where typically we don't invest. So in all of my findings and research and looking into this matter, I did not find one negative about locating LUS revenue collection with the opportunity to purchase, inquire, and address issues as it relates to utilities and or fiber at that location. It actually just makes things better going to the northern portion of the parish and everybody who has services going all the way to our city limits. So I don't know if that addresses your concern. This facility, as planned, will in fact be shut down for the safety purposes that we already addressed. And I know that there has been talk about, because City Hall is pretty much functioning beyond capacity, is going to give the opportunity for us to prevent renting facilities. So when you look at the impact on the budget, you're going to see that we rent a lot of storage space, and we build buildings to put boxes and files and things in. We're going to be able to better utilize this space here at City Hall for other means. So, that horse is out the barn, it's out the gate, it's down the road, and will not be captured. And it's going to run free, as horses do, and it's going to be a very, very positive and productive thing for our community. So,
Hey, Kenneth, that's a great idea, Councilman Kenneth. That's a great idea, because they was talking about making the new police station that's over there on Moss Street facility like what you're doing on Moss Street. I was just talking about the restriping of Moss Street, where it is going to be, as far as I'm concerned, a hazard. And I know they gave all the facts and the stats on the different accidents, the fatalities that they have. I'm looking at the school buses, city buses, the emergency vehicles, all these things,
Now, I didn't address the striping issue. I was only, Mr. Lewis had asked about the utility relocation. Yeah. Now, so I don't know if that was one and the same. As far as utilities along Moss Street, if in fact they do restripe, no utilities are going to be relocated. Okay, the restriping project, since you bring it up, is simply what it is the striping of the roadway, and they have proposed to do a lane reduction, go from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, and one of those 3 lanes will be a continuous turn lane. It is, in fact, the Department of Transportation and Development project. It is not a local project, as you said. How much input the council will have, I don't see very much at all. How much our local Public Works Department and Traffic Department will have. I think they have looked at it from the perspective of, is it a legitimate safety measure? And that has been concluded. 221 accidents in a 3-year period. The problem is, it hadn't been my child yet, and I don't think it's been yours. People tend to be more interested of things when it directly affects them. When it does not, then we could deviate and go to other issues on why we should not do something. But I assure you that when someone we love, like that gentleman who just came with the float situation, when someone dear to us experience that tragedy, then our position typically change. So that's an ongoing conversation. I don't know what's going to be the final results. Typically what I do, I did not go to school to be an engineer, so I listen to the engineers. And if they're wrong, well, then we correct what they've done wrong. But until we prove them wrong, typically I like to follow their guidance and their advice if we have a legitimate safety issue. I travel that roadway at least 8 times a day, back and forth. I see a lot of very small children trying to run across 4 lanes of traffic. I see a lot of folks walking along sidewalks that are in disarray and needs to be prepared, and a lot of curbs that are broken up. We have a federal building and a postal service there. We have a couple of housing developments along that roadway, and it's a very impoverished community, and lifestyles of impoverished people is different because we don't drive as much. We tend to walk and bike. So safety is a real concern. Okay, now for those of us who got nice big trucks and nice fancy cars and safety is not a concern, that might not go that far. But I'm going to allow the professionals in the field to continue to drive this issue, okay? And at the end of the day, a decision will be made. But the fact that a safety concern has been presented, I will tell you that if action is not taken, no different than any other safety concern, when action is not taken, when a true legitimate safety concern has been identified, then it's called liability, because you knew about it and you did nothing to fix it. So we're going to have to do some balancing and some juggling and some politicking and some playing around. But I just hope that everybody's voices get heard and not just a few or the most powerful or the most wealthy, okay? So that's an ongoing conversation, but utilities along Moss Street will not be moved in any fashion with this striping project. The only utility issue on Moss Street is something that I'm very proud of, and that's the relocation of revenue collection to our community, where we are going to benefit from tremendously.
Oh, yeah, because it's right by your house.
All right.
All right.
But I mailed my bill in, by the way.
Thank you, guys.
He got you. Okay. Any more blue cards? Okay, let's move into resolutions. Liz, can you read the first resolution, please?
14, 2016, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Community Development Department to participate with the Louisiana Housing Corporation in the filing of an application with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for a comprehensive housing counseling program grant.
Motion by Mr. Boudreau, second by Mr. Bellard. Council discussion. Oh, Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry. Mr. Lewis, second that. No council discussion. Any blue cards?
No, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you, Liz. Moving into appeals. Item number 8 has been deferred. Whew, long title. Has been deferred at the request of the mayor president. Okay, now we're going to move to ordinances for final adoption. This is the public hearing. The blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. The 5-minute rule does apply. Liz, go ahead and read, please.
Ordinance 33, 2016, An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell 3 surplus motorcycles which are no longer needed for public purposes to Cajun Harley-Davidson for a total bid price of $22,500 as per the attached list. Motorcycles.
Motion by Mr. Boudreaux, second by Mr. Terrio. Any council discussion? Seeing none in blue cards.
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 3? District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 34, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell 100 surplus golf carts which are no longer needed for public purposes to Courtesy Golf Cars for a total bid price of $212,500 as per the attached list. Golf carts.
Motion by Mr. Terrio, second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion? Seeing none, blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3? Motion is approved. Ordinance 35, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell an Elgin street sweeper which is no longer needed for public purposes to Scott Construction Company, Equipment Company, LLC, for a total bid price of $10,500. Street sweeper.
Motion by Mr. Terrio, second by Ms. Cook. Any council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 39, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the building or structure located at 108 Clifford Road, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by Michael Joey Leger to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare and ordering the condemnation of same.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Boudreaux. You have the photos in front of you. Any council discussion? Seeing none. Any blue cards?
We have 2 speakers, Mr. Chair. First of which, Johnny Curry and Jody Leger.
Hello, how y'all doing, City Council? My name is Curry Johnny, and I purchased the house off of 108 Clifford from Jody Leger. And I'm 28 years old. I'm just starting off. I've been renting all my life. My parents grew up in Abbeville. They moved to Lafayette. They've been renting for all our life, and I'm just trying to make a stand as a young man and buy a house. And I need to get the city council's approval to get a buildings permit if I can follow the city ordinance and comply with the city to finish my project. And I'm asking the city council for y'all help as a young man to allow me to get a buildings permit if I can follow through with the city ordinances and comply with the city to get a buildings permit to finish my project and what I started.
Okay. Mr. Boudreaux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you. Johnny, good.
How you doing?
Been a while. Good. Randy, could you come up, please? Kerry, let me see if I could walk you through this. I know we spoke by phone, and I had to get a little bit more information and kind of let you know where we are and some history behind what we're doing. And I did hear you say you have now bought the property from Mr. Leger?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
That is going to help you. And Randy, if I misspeak, I'm going to just ask that you kind of chime in. That is going to help. What I found out was that the reason you could not get a building permit to do any work there was because you was not the property owner. Building permits are distributed to the property owners. Even if a contract is doing work on their behalf, the permit is for the property owner. So if you now have the legal documentation or the bill of sale, I would think that now you could go and get a building permit to correct that situation. You don't need the council to do that. What is before us today is a condemnation for a facility that has been a problem for a community for a very long time. okay? Because of issues have not been addressed historically, and we're just at that point. About 6 years ago, I started something that we reference, at least I reference it, and people have kind of tied into it, called Operation Blight Out. It was an attempt to clean up those communities, a lot of which I represent, that just have had facilities and properties, whether they were overgrown, houses that were abandoned, some boarded, some unboarded, and any and all type of illegal activity that you could imagine was taking place. I believe that for us to continue to make progress, and one of the things that I have done is that I have supported this program. There is a way that you can, now that you are the owner, if you could show that to our department, there is a way that you can stop this process going forward after tonight's action, and that you would be given the opportunity to invest in the property that you've now owned and whatnot, and try to get it renovated to the point where it's livable. That's going to require the securing of a bond, okay? What the bond does for this government is say, you know what? I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to fix this house. I'm putting my money where